I need to bring up some pertinent points before we go on. First, I'm 82 years old and I've realized if I don't get them out, there's a lot of things that I did to win races and championships that will never at least come from my lips. That said, let me tell you this. It's 11:40 in the morning here. I've got to get this video out by 9 o'clock tonight. The rush is to get the knowledge out in a general form. Don't expect, because of the rush, to see fancy graphs and power curves or anything like that. It's not going to happen. More than likely, all you're going to get is an overall knowledge of the techniques and technology involved, and you take it from there. I am up to my button alligators here with jobs I've got to do. So this video is going to be straight to the point. Probably no fancy graphs in it and things like this. I'm going to tell you what the overall test results achieved, and you can take it from there. So let's get started. I'm using as a demo a V12 Jaguar cylinder head. Now there's several cylinder heads and I think that this is one of the best ones to start with, but anyway, let's take a look and see what the project's all about. First, this mod increases airflow in the mid to high lift. Doesn't do anything in the low lift. That's up to maybe 300 thousandths lift on your typical engine. It also increases swirl. And I have to tell you, if your fuel injection or your carburetor is delivering too large fuel droplets, it may cost you power. The fix is to fix the carburetor or fuel injection so that it delivers well atomized fuel. And here's the basic mod. For reference, here's the stock Jaguar combustion chamber. Here's the chamber shape before I introduce the mod that I'm going to be talking about. Air comes in the direction of the arrow, and whilst the head is on a flow bench, the side wall opposing the flow presents the edge at the second arrow. Now, while this is on the flow bench, that corner makes really no difference to the flow. But the cylinder head doesn't live on a flow bench, it lives on an engine. And there's a high flow period due to the exhaust extraction and the start of the flow coming into the cylinder whilst the piston is close. This means that there's a disruption of the flow at that point. Now that's fine if you have large droplets of fuel because they'll get broken up, or some of it will get broken up at that point. But if the mixture is of a sufficient quality for the job, what will happen is that the flow will be interrupted by that edge. So we round it off in the manner shown coming up. Now the first move, or at least the first one I'm going to show here, is in this area here. You will see that this has been rounded off, and I'll let Charlie explain why we've done that in this following group of shots.
Okay, this part of the chamber has been modified. It's similar to DV's scavenge plateau, but you can't actually do a plateau due to the shape of the chamber. But this radius here actually serves two functions. As the piston is coming up to the quench, it helps the gases aim in the direction the port wants to flow. And when our swirl of our intake comes in, it helps the swirl maintain its turning. That's also one of the reasons this divider has been knocked way back. The stock divider was much taller and in the way of the swirl.
Well, we've strayed the point of the video slightly here with that inclusion of what we do on the exhaust side. So back to how the mod I'm attempting to show here is done, and it's on the intake side. In a similar fashion, we cut away this bit here. You can see that this is also nicely radiused off. So as the gases come through here like this and start to swirl, they can roll over that edge into what will be a limited space between the piston and the cylinder head. The piston may only be a quarter of an inch from this face here, and at that point there can be quite a bit of flow here, and it needs to be able to get into there. As the piston goes down, so we need to be able to, that flow will spread out like this, and it needs to be able to get down into the cylinder easy. Also, because this restrictive edge here has been removed, the swirl improves, and swirl is a very important factor for almost every cylinder head that we want a broad power curve from. Now, very high RPM swirl becomes irrelevant. Why? Because at 8,000 RPM you couldn't have a combustion chamber full of gases that didn't have pretty strong mixture motion. So that's why you don't see a big deal of swirl on NASCAR engines, Pro Stock engines, F1 engines, etc. Because you couldn't have that mixture still if you even tried to do it. Okay, a little bit about the history of these combustion chamber mods that I've discussed. I learned a lot from Chrysler's then chief engineer, John Clark. I should say WizKid John Clark. I've spoken of this guy before. He was definitely a genius. Anyway, the fact of the matter is, what I learned from him was very instrumental in getting my then British Touring Cup car to really go. And it did. It was basically competitive with the next class up. Well, more than competitive, it usually beat them. At the end of the year, when I incorporated everything into it, anything in my class, I could just pulverize it, literally. Unless it was Bernard Unett driving in front of me. But anyway, enough of that. So, in essence, I've had about 50 years of experience refining what I do on this aspect. And what I found is there's some engines that it responds very well and others not so. One of the first ones I had a real success with was with small block Fords. First off, with my own cylinder heads for my own car. When I first had a Mustang, I could not afford aluminum heads. My motors worked really good. I was making 450 horsepower from a street 5.0. That's not bad. And it would pull from 1500 RPM in high gear. Not enough power to win any big drag races, but certainly very fast for a street machine. And, because since I used almost all stock parts other than cam and valve train, and intake and carburetor, it wasn't a very expensive engine, but it could beat some very expensive cars. Now, applying that further on, I used it on a vintage racer, which raced in Europe, and the driver reported, before the block split and blew the engine up, the driver reported that it was the most boring race car he'd ever driven. Why? He could pass anyone he wanted to on demand. Didn't matter how much blocking they did in the turns. When they hit the straight, zoom, just like he had a small nitrous kit attached. So that's basically the history, and I've done that now on any motor that it can be done, and that includes most of them, more so for some than others. But let's look at the basics here. First off, flow. The gain in flow on a flow bench is very small. Nothing happens much before mid-lift, and then maybe 2, 3, 4 CFM at the most at max lift. So, like I said, we don't operate our cylinder heads on a flow bench, they're on an engine. Swirl, it's an increase in swirl toward the higher lift. I would say swirl increases normally from mid lift range, and the intensity of the swirl at full lift is usually around about 10 to 15%, sometimes as much as 20% up on what it was before the mod was done. That's on the intake side of it. How about torque and horsepower? From about peak torque on up, the torque increases on the engine, and it extends the power curve by probably 2, 3, sometimes as much as 400 RPM before it turns over. So it has a bigger effect on performance than just the amount of horsepower it creates. It just goes on at the top end. Peak power is usually up by probably around about 5 to 8%. And that's where you get that advantage over other people. If you look at the average power during the rev range you're using whilst racing, you have something like a 3 or 4% advantage over the other guy because of that extended power band and the extra output. So there you have it. That's a mod that probably isn't known by 99.99% of even professional head porters. So I hope you can use it to help your car go that much faster for virtually zero cost. That's all for today. Thank you for watching, and I will see you soon in the next edition. Oh, and don't forget to subscribe and all that stuff, right? Thank you.